Good morning. This is Robin from Roaming with Rover, and today is Finish It Friday. We've got a lot to talk about today. Things are a-changin'. So today we're going to talk about what we've been working on. We're going to talk about upcoming adventures, and there's a lot. And we're going to talk about some health issues. So let's start with the fun stuff. We're going to start with what we've been working on. The blue blanket. Boy, that looks really green on camera, but it isn't. It's a real pretty blue. The yarn that I'm using for this project is deep teal, and it is Red Heart Super Saver Ombre. I am using, it's a 10 ounce, it's a big skein, 10 ounce skein, 482 yards per skein. I have 3 of them, and I think I'm going to have to go buy one more. These were out of my stash, my collection of yarn, so I'm using some stuff up, but I don't think it's going to be quite big enough, so I'm going to grab one more. And what I'm working on is this blanket. I don't want to lose my hook. And I told you guys a few days ago when I started this that my friend is ill, and I just wanted to do a little something for her so she knows I'm thinking about her. So this is where we're at. It's turning out real nice. I'm pleased with this. Pretty blankie. So I've used 1 and maybe a half, a little more than half, probably 3/4. Yeah, about 3/4. And I'm not seeing my hook. To dig around, find my hook. Always looking for hooks around here. So it's this long, I don't know, 2 feet long. I want it to be a throw. And it's very warm, so I'm guessing I'm about half done. You know, I don't know if I'll need that other one or not. 1 and a half, probably be just use part of that other one. And so it's this wide, just a little lap throw. So like I said, my friend was diagnosed with cancer, and I just wanted her to know I'm thinking about her. And even though it's hot down here in Texas, a lot of times you're inside or you're getting treatments and it's cool in those rooms. So it's nice to have something to snuggle with. So that's all this is just a little thought of love. And because I'm working on this and I'm kind of on a very tight timeline, I set everything else aside, and this is the only thing I'm working on until I get it done. There's a concept. Finish one project and then worked on another one. No, that's not me, and you know that. So that's what's going on with this. It's going along nicely. This is a bag-a-day pattern. Can you see the little uppy downies in there? She's calling it a drop shell stitch. Let's see if I can find one. You can see right there, drop shell stitch. So you just drop it down, and there's another one. You drop it down into the pattern of the row before. And it's an easy pattern, just like all of her patterns are easy. And of course her instructions are wonderful. You see that? I like the way this is working up. Very easy to follow. There's 4-row repeat, a 4-row repeat. How about 4-row repeat? And I wrote all the instructions down. That's what I do with her patterns. I go through, I watch the video, I write all the instructions out, and usually after a couple of times of doing them, I don't need to look at the instructions anymore. And that's what happened with this one. But you know, for me, it's better to have them written down than to have to try to go back in the video. Although that does give her a little watch time, but I'm thinking Miss Bag-A-Day doesn't need my extra 10 or 15 minutes of watch time. We're very lucky that we have her in our life. and all her amazing videos. And I did want to show you one other thing, even though I'm not working on it at this second. Oops, let's just rip these stitches out. Even though I'm not working on it right this second. See, it's chilly in here this morning. This feels good on my lap. I did want to show you this other thing that I started when I was at my daughter's house. And I haven't showed it to you since the very first day I started it, I think. And I'm making this, it's a table runner. And it's filet crochet. See, you make the little designs. There's the basket and the bunnies and eggs. And it's from Pattern Central, which is one of Annie's patterns groups. And it's all online. And, you know, they'll have these patterns in there for $3 or $4. And every single day there's a sale of some sort. And what I do is I just put those patterns in my box, in my cart. And then every day, whenever the next sale comes out, I just check and see which one of those is on sale. And a lot of times I'll get these things for 99 cents, or they'll be 3 for $5, something like that. But that's how I've bought the majority of my patterns from Annie's. And I've got a ton of them, let me tell you. So I'm making this out of crochet thread. I love this pretty Easter color crochet thread. Isn't that pretty? And I don't want to tear these out. So this is loose. Listen to this tiny little hook I'm using. Tiny little hook. But it hasn't been as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's been a while since I've used a tiny little hook like that. So this is a table runner, and it goes, this is the bottom, this is the edge, and it goes, this is the long way, and we're crocheting this way, so it's going to go long like this. And you can just see I'm starting to get, that's going to be bunny, I believe. I think that's the edge of the bunny. And nope, I lied. This is the bottom edge. This is the outside edge. And that's just sort of a finish off edge. This is the bunny. We're starting to get into the bunny down here. There we go. You see? So with filet crochet, there we go. There you can see. I thought this was my edge, but it's my counting, my square counting. So with filet crochet, you create the picture by filling in the squares. So you've got your open squares, which is going to be double crochet. I think this is 2 chains. Yep, 2 chains. Double crochet, 2 chains, double crochet. That's what creates the open stitch. And then when you get to the solid blocks, which is what's creating your visual, you've got double crochet. So each square, 1, 2, 3, 4, each square equals 4 double crochets. Can you see that? Find something dark to put it up against. There we go. Each square equals 4 double crochets. And that's how you make this solid piece so that you can create your pictures. I love filet crochet. It's one of my favorite things. It goes pretty quick because you've got so much open meshness, but then when it's done, and this will absolutely have to be blocked when it's done to get this design to show up. I will have to block this. And my goal had been to have this done for Easter for my daughter and the family. Not happening. Even if I hadn't have started this new project here, that probably wouldn't have happened, but it'll for sure be ready for her for next year, so I'll get that finished and sent off. It'll go into my rotation of projects. Put that on the list, but like I said, I want to get this blanket done first for my friend. So in other breaking news, when I was visiting my daughter, I had gone to an eye doctor, and I've been having a lot of problems with my right eye. I can't see very well out of my right eye, and everything is blurry. I can't see the TV. The two of them work together quite well, but just the right eye on its own is not doing what's supposed to do. So I'm slowly losing my vision in my right eye. But I am, they can fix it. Apparently it's a pretty simple surgery. And so I'm scheduled for surgery towards the end of this month. The problem is my medical insurance is not any good in Texas. It's only good in my home state of Washington. That is one of the problems when you are an RVer, a full-time RVer like we are, as you travel around from state to state. Medical insurance is a big deal. My insurance is only good in Washington states. Mr. has Medicare, which I thought was good everywhere. Well, it turns out it is not. And so we've had quite a few battles with his problems, with his medical issues, and getting coverage, and doctors, and different counties will approve different things. It's been quite eye-opening. And if you are on Medicare, or if you're just about ready for Medicare and think you're going to be traveling all over, you need to check into how your coverage is going to be, because that's a big deal to get somewhere and not have medical coverage. So my medical insurance is only good in Washington state, and so we have made arrangements to have my surgery done the end of this month. Should be a piece of cake, no problem. But we were trying to decide whether I would fly home and then we would just try to get coverage for the rig while I was gone. And that was a big rigmarole. That was a big mess when I went on days off. And so we made the decision to go home, to call it. We're going to be done working down here on the rig, and we're going to head home. So our last day down here was scheduled to be next Friday, which I believe was the 15th of April. And I told my boss, and I told the rig boss, and got to say goodbye to all the boys when they made their switch over the other day. And I told everybody that was leaving that I wouldn't be here when they got back. And then as the new guys were coming in, I was telling them we're getting ready to leave, or I'm going to be here for a little while. And then, big surprise, yesterday afternoon, my boss came over to, the rig boss came over to talk to me, and he said they had talked to the big boss, and apparently they've decided not to replace us. They're going to pull, they're not going to have gate guards on this rig anymore. And we're starting to hear some of that more and more on the different gates, that they're pulling the gate guards. Apparently they brought them down here to start with, a lot of them, because of COVID. And now that COVID has eased up, although you know how that goes, and we're not going to get into a discussion about that. But down here, they've made the decision to pull gate guards off a lot of the gates. And so he told me that our last day would be Sunday. So they're not even going to let us finish out the week that we were scheduled to stay. We were going to stay till next Friday. So instead, today is Friday, finish it Friday, and the date is the 8th. So our last day is going to be the 10th. So we'll work today, Saturday, Sunday, and then we're done. We're all done gate guarding. So we're going to pull out Monday morning. So we've got a lot of work to do in the next 2 days, because we were going to be gone in a week, and I was chunking up the amount of work that needed to be done so Mr. wouldn't be so wore out. And because it's a long drive home, you guys, like 16 or 1700 miles home, and we're leaving on Monday. Now, the fun thing is, because we're going to have extra time, we can take it a little slower and see some things. We already had planned on seeing a few things, but now we're going to be able to see even more things. We're planning on, well, as you know, when we started this trip, the goal was to see as many of the national parks as we could. And we haven't got to see as many as I would have liked. Because like even here in Texas, there's 3 national parks. We haven't seen any of them. And we've spent the better part of 2 years in Texas, one place or another. So on the east side of the state, there's a big national park that we haven't seen. And on this side, there's 2 national parks. There's one that's about 5 hours south of us, and that's Big Bend. We're not going to be able to do that because of the price of fuel. It costs us about $1 a mile to drive this thing, give or take. $1 a mile. So you got to be careful Mister's truck driving days kick in when we get on this thing, and he's always talked about being out of route and, you know, overusing your fuel costs. Well, now I'm right there with him with the fuel costs now. So to drive 5 hours south and then 5 hours back up to get to where we are right now, that's just not going to happen. We were kind of thinking of adding that in. If we were leaving next week, we could have taken the truck down and done that, but it's just not feasible in the RV. So Big Bend is out. We won't be able to see that one. But north of us, just a couple hours, is Guadalupe National Park, and we're planning on hitting that one. And then just about an hour north of that in New Mexico is Carlsbad Caverns, and we are planning on doing that. Now, those of you that are familiar with Carlsbad, they have the bat caves there, and if you go in at sunrise or sunset, you can see thousands of bats leaving or coming back home. Well, they're hibernating right now, so there's no bats that fly in and out. But I'll tell you what, when we got down here last year and we were on the first location we were at, we could see the bats. They'd fly over and they'd be hanging out. So we got to actually see the bats out in the wild, as it were. After they had left the caves, they leave the caves and then they fly out all over the area, and they fly hundreds of miles. It's amazing, and eat up all the bugs. And then they go back home in the morning. That's how they feed. So we've seen them actually flying out and around. So that's been really cool. And then we're going to head up towards Albuquerque and then up towards Utah. And we're going to go to Arches National Park. And apparently Canyonland National Park is right near there, like maybe an hour away. So we're going to hit Canyonland National Park. Now, 3 of those parks we've never seen before: Guadalupe, Arches, and Canyonland. We have each been to Carlsbad, but separately, so we'll be able to go together and it'll be part of this trip, so it counts on our trip. And then there's a 5th national park another one in Utah that is not too far from Canyonland. And so I don't know, it's called Capitol Reef. And I don't know if we're going to be able to add that in or not. I'm going to talk to Mister and see how that works in our route. Because sometimes I'll go, oh, it's only an hour from here. And it's like, yeah, but it's an hour away from where we need to be. So now it turns into 2 hours and however many miles that turns into be. So we'll find out about that. So for sure 4, possibly 5 national parks: Guadalupe, Carlsbad, Arches, Canyonland, and maybe Capitol Reef. 5. But we'll see. We have already been to Bryce and we've already been to Zion in Utah. So we will have hit quite a few of them in Utah. And the Salt Flats is something I would like to do. He said it's quite far out of route, but now that we have extra time, we might be able to rearrange things and go see that. I'd like to see the Salt Flats. So we'll see. Now, the fun and exciting thing. Y'all know Dana. Wanderlust. Dana Wanderlust. I will put her, I'll put the link to her channel in the description. I adore Dana. I'm just terrible with names, and I should have written down the name of it beforehand. But she is a truck driver, as y'all know, and she's got a pretty decent following of people. And when she hits the road to do her trucking, we follow along. And she'll do her live for 3, 4, 5 hours, and we just follow her along, looking out her windshield as we go down the road, talking about this, that, and the other thing. So I'm going to take a page from Dana's book, and if the sound isn't horrible, I'm going to try it with my tablet. I'm going to try it with my computer. The sound on that computer is really strange. You have to just be like right here for the sound to pick up. And so we'll see. I'm going to try and do some lives as we're driving, and you guys can see the area, see what we're talking about. And as we hit the national parks, do as much as we can from the windshield in the national parks and take you along with us. So throughout the next several days, starting Monday, throughout the next several days, I'm going to be live a lot, and I want you guys to be able to join in and see what's going on. That'll be fun if I can make it work out. So just stay tuned and pop in and see what's going on. Speaking of lives, next Tuesday, super excited. I have my live, okay. I have a scheduled live, my world. I have a scheduled live with Linda Simpson at 10 a.m. Central Time. Now, to be honest, I don't know where I'm going to be on Tuesday. I don't know what time zone I'm going to be on. By Tuesday, in theory, I may be in Mountain Time, but we're still going to stick with 10 a.m. Central. So it'll be 9 a.m. Mountain, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. East Coast, I think. Make sure you check and see. But Linda's going to be joining us. Oh, fingers crossed that might have internet while I'm driving down the road, because we don't always. And if we're in the mountains, we won't. Ugh. So anyway, fingers crossed that we have internet on Tuesday morning with Linda, and worst case, if something happens, I'll give you guys notice and we'll reschedule it. But as of right now, it is still set. And then Monday night, I'm scheduled to have a live. Oh, what time did we end up settling on? I want to say 7 o'clock. We've gone back and forth a few times. But I think we ended up 7 o'clock on 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. Where am I going to be Monday? We'll still be in New Mexico, so it should be, I think that's still the same time zone. And it's going to be on with AJ, and she's going to be creating a little thing. So as soon as she publishes that, I will link that down here, and I'll put a reminder up on my community page. So keep an eye on the community page to see what's upcoming. I'm not going to be able to do reminders like I do normally when I have a live for my traveling live, and I'll do a different picture for that. So you guys know my regular Tuesday lives, I have the picture of the 3 puppies, the 3 dogs on the couch taking a nap. So whenever you see those 3 dogs, you know that's one of my scheduled lives coming up. So I'll come up with a different picture for traveling. Maybe a picture of the RV. That'd be cool. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll take a picture of the RV, and so you'll know that that's going to be one of my traveling lives. They're not going to be like pre-scheduled so much as we just go live, and we're going to see how it works. We're just going to see how it works. And I really hope you guys will pop in, even if it's just for a few minutes. Say hi, howdy, ask a bunch of questions, see what we're doing, take a look at the national parks, and we will go from there. So this is already longer than I wanted it to be, but we had a lot to cover. And during the lives, we'll talk about what's going to be coming up in our future. So that's pretty much it for now. We are getting ready to hit the road. We've been here for the better part of a year, and we're both excited to be getting back home. So remember, I want you always to stay safe, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.